What should you do during a low? All you need to treat a low is an easily absorbable source of sugar. I'm going to talk really slowly. Fruit juice, candy that's not like gum or individually wrapped because you might need a lot of it. Gummy bears. That's fine. That would be super helpful. If I was going through a low and I said I didn't have anything, does anybody have any sugar here? And somebody said, I've got gummy worms, gummy bears. That would be so great, be so helpful. If someone said, here's juice, and they didn't give me just like this much juice, here's some orange juice, apple juice, that would be great. One thing that wouldn't work is to say to them, are you sure you should be eating sugar? And try to hand them some nuts. That's not so good. Nuts are not so good. I don't think that nuts qualify as kind of a pure source of glucose. So what you want to help someone with a low is the easiest stuff that's available. Now, sometimes you can pass out if your blood sugar gets really low, and they make a special thing. If you have a type 1 diabetic in your life, you want to be super supportive. I learned how to use, and this is maybe if there's a chance they'll have a really dangerous low. If you're sleeping in the same room or the same house, they might have a low at night. And you learn how to check their blood sugar for them to detect if they, just in case they have a, once in a lifetime kind of emergency, they pass out in the middle of the night. It can be super dangerous. You can get glucose gel that you can put inside their cheek, if this is like if they're not, conscious or whatever, and that will bring up their blood sugar. One thing that so that's a cool emergency thing to have on hand if you want to, say, I was researching, I don't think that you're going to go low a lot or anything, but I wanted to learn how to use this stuff, or the injectable sugar, glucagon, just in case. That's kind of like the caretaker type minded person's thing to do. You could make it a point to, find out what do you like to have during your lows. A lot of people use juice boxes. And candy, and they'll have a specific type of candy that would work for them. I'm trying to think of a candy that wouldn't work. Like, I wouldn't give some heavy chocolatey, candy bar. They'll work. Some people use sugar, like Snickers bars and stuff like that for lows. Gumdrop type things. I wouldn't give a hard candy, because it's like if you have some hard candy, you're gonna have to chew on those, and that's not that fun. Sometimes fruit can be helpful, but sometimes fruit's a little bit slow. So I've had some crazy lows where it's like, in order to help get out of that low, I would need the equivalent of 4 whole bananas or something like that. And there's a chance that I'll have already just recently eaten. So I'm already stuffed, and now I'm supposed to eat 4 bananas. I'd much rather have the candy or glucose tablets. So these are some things that you can provide, right? Here's another easy one that a lot of people have around, is a can of soda for an emergency. I mean, that you're doing a great job. But I wouldn't bring a diet can of soda. That wouldn't be helpful. So you want to be careful. If you've been sent to this video, it's probably you're not getting it. Somebody needed help with a low, and you gave them crap. You said, I already gave you you already had some sugar, you shouldn't need that much. Or you didn't take that much insulin, why are you're not in a low. If you said something like that, that's another video. I mean, hopefully your, say it was your partner is type 1 diabetic. If that happened, they should get rid of you, is the reasonable prescription. So I hope you're working on that, and maybe in therapy with yourself. That's pretty extreme, but I've heard of that happening. That definitely happens. And again, invisible illness, like, you only really get to see the inner world of type 1 diabetics when you're reading their stories online and what's happening for them. That happened just recently. I saw that with somebody, which is just tough. That's tragic. They were in a low, a severe low, and pregnant, and their ex is withholding the sugar. Other type 1 diabetics have had experiences of having sugar that they, set aside, and then somebody steals it. Now, here's another aspect. When you're low, when you're type 1 diabetic, you also, separately from the low, get hungry. Get hungry. So some people do a protocol where they have their sugar and then they have a snack with the sugar. But when you're in a real true low, something with that hunger comes over you. You might go down to the kitchen. Now, say you're really slow, you're really, really low, like close to dangerously low. You might not, it's not like, it's kind of like you're in a little bit of a dream state. I describe it like I sort of become like shamanic or whatever. I'm feeling like, whoa, whoa. Or it's like you're living with a cloud around you. You don't sense things in the same way. So you just might start grabbing random stuff, and that's okay. If you're a roommate, try to forgive your roommate who ate all of your whatever, leftover something. If your type 1 diabetic friend in your life, they're you find them eating something that doesn't have sugar in it and they're eating too much, just ask them, do you need me to help you keep sugar around? Do we need to have juice in our house? What do we need to have in our house that would be really perfect for you in case you have a low? And when you have a low, are there any snacks you really like to go with the sugar when you eat it, so you don't end up eating everything in the house, which can happen. And it's okay, it's forgivable. It's like, what are you gonna do when you have a low? You're in that moment. It's not the easiest time to make wise and eloquent decisions, and there's kind of an emergency feeling about it, combined with that sensory where am I kind of feeling. So I think I'm gonna leave that there. Some of the other mistakes you might do, aside from telling them like doing anything other than getting an appropriate sugar source when somebody has a low, is inappropriate. No talk is required. Yes, it's emergency. That's emergency, like stop whatever you're doing, emergency, and get the sugar with no problems, no questions asked. They don't need they don't need to be read a bunch of litmus questions to for whatever reason. So some of the other mistakes, again, would be not giving enough. Like they need candy. They say they want candy, and you bring them one wrapped Werther's candy. That might not be enough, So keep that in mind. And then some of the inappropriate, things, nuts, not going to raise your blood sugar, not high carb. Even bread, like white rice, I would feel pretty safe using for a low, but not brown rice. That's absorbed just a little bit too slow. So, I mean, if you're in an emergency, you use what you got. So I've got nothing else. All I could find was this bread, All I could find was this leftover rice. But don't say, all I could find was this salad. You're getting to the point where it could be life-threatening having that low if you try to give them a salad. So, yeah, other things that are useful for lows, like jelly, like peanut butter and jelly, just jelly. A lot of your, not natural brand stuff, but regular jelly has tons of sugar in it. So a tablespoon of jelly, it's got like 13 grams of carbs, really sweet. So just other things with sugar. If you're ever really stuck, you can take sugar itself and mix it with warm water. That works. So don't mistreat a low. Don't offer advice. Don't tell them they don't need sugar. Just help. No questions asked. That's the deal with a low. Okay, I'll leave that one there.